Hello everyone, this is Professor Atman Shah. I teach economics at St. Xavier's College, Ahmedabad, India. In this video, I am going to discuss the idea of one-way ANOVA. You can also find my videos on one sample t-test, independent t-test, bad t-test, chi-square test for independence, null versus alternative hypothesis. The links are given in the description section. Uh, Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, Crack Economics by Atman Shah, to understand the ideas of economics and statistics. So let's begin with the introduction of one-way ANOVA. A one-way ANOVA is a statistical tool to compare the means of more than two independent groups. So when we want to compare the mean of more than two independent groups, we can use one-way ANOVA. In other words, we can say that it's a statistical tool that is used to check if the means of two or more groups are significantly different from each other. If we find that the one group or two groups are significantly different from others, we cannot identify the group which is different from others with the help of this test, and that is why this one-way ANOVA test is known as omnibus test. Identify the group which is different from others, the post hoc test is used, but the post hoc test is not discussed in this video. Let's understand the one-way ANOVA with the help of example. So we could use one-way ANOVA to check the significant difference in the annual salary of arts, science, and commerce graduates. So one-way ANOVA compares the mean salary of arts graduates, science graduates, and commerce graduates, and it finds whether there is any significant differences. So here our dependent variable is annual salary, and our independent groups are arts graduates, science graduates, and commerce graduates. So here we have more than two groups, and we want to compare the mean salary of these three independent groups, and that is why one-way ANOVA is used. Let's take another example. Suppose we want to test the significant difference in the grades of low, medium, and high income students. So again, one-way ANOVA compares the mean grades of low income students, medium income students, and high income students, and finds whether there is any significant differences. So here dependent variable is grades, and independent groups are high income group, medium income student group, and low income student groups. So again, we have more than two independent groups, and therefore one-way ANOVA is used. What are the assumptions of this test? If all these assumptions are satisfied, we can use one-way ANOVA. The first assumption is random selection of the sample. The sample is collected randomly from the population. Second is observations are independent, which says that the selection of one observation does not affect the selection of other observations in the population. Third, the dependent variable should be normally distributed. Since the normality assumption is required, one-way ANOVA is a parametric test. If dependent variable is not normally distributed, we cannot use one-way ANOVA to compare the mean of more than two independent groups. Fourth, the dependent variable should be measured on an interval or ratio scale. So again, if we have nominal or ordinal variable, we cannot use one-way ANOVA. The dependent variable must be measured on an interval or ratio scale. Fifth assumption is variances of all independent groups are equal. So if all these assumptions are fulfilled, we can use one-way ANOVA. Let's understand these steps with the help of example. Suppose a test is given to three classes, class A, class B, and class C. Suppose that we wish to test whether the mean scores of the three classes are equal. So these are the results out of 200, class A, class B, and class C, and we want to test whether the mean scores of the three classes are equal. So here we have more than two independent groups. We want to compare the means. So one-way ANOVA is used. Step 1 of one-way ANOVA is to define the null and alternative hypothesis. In general, the null hypothesis is all the population means are equal, that is mu1 is equal to mu2 is equal to mu3 up to mu k if we have k samples. So in our example, the null hypothesis is the mean score of three classes are equal. That is mu A is equal to mu B is equal to mu C. Now what is the alternative hypothesis? The alternative hypothesis is at least two of the population means are unequal. So in our example, the alternative hypothesis is the mean score of at least two classes are different or unequal. So that is mu A is not equal to mu B is not equal to mu C. This is step 1. Step 2 is decide the level of significance, which is already given, that is 0.05. We need to decide the level of significance before we start the analysis. So here it is 0.05 and we know that it is denoted by alpha. Now step 3 is to calculate the sum of observations of each samples, that is summation x1, summation x2, summation x3 up to summation xk, and also square the observations and obtain their total for each sample. So in our example, suppose we take 150 as the code value, subtract it from all the given values in our working for easy calculation. So we have the following values: x1, x2, x3, that is column 1, column 3 and column 5, and we have the total of these three samples, that is x1. X1 shows the sample A, x2 shows sample B, and x3 shows sample C. So we have summation x1, summation x2 and summation x3. That is the first line of step 3. The second is square the observations, which can be shown by x1 square, x2 square and x3 square, and then take the total of each sample, which is summation x1 square, summation x2 square and summation x3 square. Step 4 is to calculate the correction factor. So correction factor is t square upon n. Now what is t square? T square is the sum of all observations of all samples, the square of this sum of all observations of all samples upon the total number of observations of all samples. So here we have three groups. Each group has 6 observations, so n is equal to 18, and we have already calculated the x1, x2 and x3, that is minus 24, 36 and 152. So the t square is square of minus 24 plus 36 plus 152, and answer is 1494.22. So this is the value of correction factor. Step 5. Step 5 is calculate total sum of square, which is denoted by SST, by using this formula, that is summation x1 square, summation x2 square plus summation x3 square minus t square upon n. So in our example, it is 800 plus 368 plus 4728, that is summation x1 square, summation x2 square and summation x3 square minus the correction factor, that is t square upon n. We have calculated all these values, so we just need to substitute the values into the formula and we will get the answer of SST. Step 6 is to calculate sum of square between samples, which is denoted by SSB. Formula is summation x1 whole square upon n1 plus summation x2 whole square upon n2 plus summation x3 whole square upon n3 minus the correction factor, that is t square upon n. So in our example, it is 2668.44. Again, we have calculated all the values. Just substitute the values into the formula and you will get the answer. Step 7 is calculate the sum of square within samples, which is denoted by SSW. So the formula is SSW is equal to total sum of square minus between sample sum of squares. So in our example, it is 1733.3. Step 8 is prepare the ANOVA table. So the first column shows the source of variation. So here we have two sources of variation, variation between samples and variation within the sample. Second column shows the sum of squares, that is sum of square between samples and sum of square within samples. Third column shows the degree of freedom. For between samples, it is C minus 1. C shows the number of samples. For within the samples, it is n minus c. N is the total number of observations minus the number of samples or number of independent groups. Fourth column indicates the mean squares. Now this mean square is calculated by dividing sum of squares by degree of freedom. So MSB is SSB upon C minus 1. Similarly, MSW, that is mean squares for within the samples, is equal to SSW upon n minus C. So if we want to calculate this mean square here, so is this mean square is the sum squares divided by degree of freedom, that is SSB upon C minus 1. Similarly, MSW is this SSW upon n minus C. So what is F calculated in this case? The F calculated is MSB upon MSW. So if the value of MSW is higher than the value of MSB, if the value of this MSW is higher than the value of MSB, then MSW will come into numerator. So this is how we can prepare the ANOVA table. So in our example, the SSB is 2668.44. We have calculated all the values, so just substitute the values into ANOVA table. SSW is 1733.33. Degree of freedom is C minus 1 here. So we have 3 independent groups. That is why it is 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. We have total number of observations, that is 18 minus 3, that is C, is equal to 15. So now what is MSB? MSB is SSB upon degree of freedom, that is 2668.45 upon 2. The answer is 1334.23. Similarly, what is MSW? MSW is SSW upon degree of freedom. The answer is 115.56. Now F calculated, or F ratio, is MSB upon MSW. Here the value of MSB is higher than MSW. So this MSB will come into numerator, that is 133.23 upon 115.56, and answer is 11.55. So the F calculated, the F ratio is 11.55. Step 9 is find the tabulated value of F with given level of significance. Now, this step is useful when we calculate the value manually. If we are using the statistical software, then we don't need to find the tabulated value. We directly compare the significance level with p-value. So in our example, F tab is 3.682. Now step 10. Step 10 is the most important step in the hypothesis testing, and that is the interpretation of the result. So we reject the null hypothesis and conclude that at least 2 of the population means are unequal. If first the calculated value is higher than tabulated value, or p-value is less than or equal to level of significance. We fail to reject the null hypothesis and conclude that all the population means are equal when the calculated value is higher than the tabulated value and p is greater than alpha. So in our example, F calculated is higher than F tabulated. So what is the decision here? If the calculated value is higher than tabulated value, the null hypothesis is rejected. So in our example, F calculated is higher than F tabulated. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis. And this means that the mean score of at least 2 classes are significantly different. But we cannot identify which class is different from others. This test does not help us to identify the group which is significantly different from others. So these are the steps involved in one-way ANOVA. If you like the video, kindly share it with others, and you can ask the questions in the comment section. Thank you very much.